everyone. Welcome. Looks like we have maybe just a few people here today. Thank you. It is great to have you here. Today, we will be talking about emotional mastery and learning how to navigate anger, guilt, sadness, loss, and even elevated happiness. Um, you can put things in the chat. There will be some participation throughout. We do have a lot of information to cover today, so we will get through everything that we possibly can. Before we jump into things, I'll just share a little bit about myself. So I am Amanda Morgan. I am owner and primary therapist of Lyme Counseling. I grew up along the East Coast of the US and went to New York University for my bachelor's and master's in social work. Since graduating, I have been providing direct counseling services and managing behavioral health programs for a variety of organizations. I started Lyme Counseling a few years ago when I felt really compelled to bring a new level of acceptance and safety to the counseling space. At Lyme Counseling, we offer a unique and client-centered approach to virtual therapy and supportive services. We believe really strongly in creating a safe and welcoming space for everyone. And we do provide both insurance-based services and low-cost self-pay services as well. So now that you know a little bit about me, let's jump into talking about your emotions. So in today's workshop, we will be learning how to become masters of our own emotions. We will be doing this through two main areas of focus. First, we will learn how to understand our emotions. This will help us determine why emotions are there and how to best process and react to them. Secondly, we will learn a variety of active interventions and coping strategies to use to manage those emotions. So we can't move into understanding our emotions without first addressing the fact that you have to be able to identify your emotions. I don't want to spend too much time on this today because we do have a lot to cover, but I want everyone to see what we call the feelings wheel. This wheel is a great place to start when you have some emotions, but can't exactly label or identify what they are. I see a lot of people that will tell me that they just have such big emotions, but they can't really identify kind of what they are or the reasons that they're there. This tool allows you to identify and further understand some of those emotions. So you would start at the center of the feeling of that wheel with a basic emotion, and then you would move to the outer rings of the circle with identifying emotions that may be a little bit more descriptive and specific to what you're feeling. So, for example, if you're feeling angry, you may want to further identify what that angry feeling really is coming from. So, if you look on the wheel, you can see anger. And then if you go out to that next kind of circle, it could be from feelings such as being let down or frustrated, bitter, or embarrassed. Then, if you look at the outside of the ring of that feelings wheel, you may even be able to identify more closely with some more terms such as feeling betrayed or violated, annoyed or provoked are there as well. All of those emotions can look and feel like the more general term of anger. So, by clearly identifying the emotions that you're feeling, you can better understand them and know what to do with them. If this is a tool that you want to start using, you can simply search for this feelings wheel on the internet. It's all over. I have seen a few different versions of it, so don't hesitate to look for a few of them and kind of cross-reference them. So we are going to focus on a few of the most frequently identified emotions today: anger, guilt, sadness, loss, and elevated happiness. We will go through each of the emotions, learn more about it, and then discuss interventions and skills to use to manage that particular emotion. So we will start with the big one, anger. So anger is a complex emotion that serves various purposes, physically, mentally, and socially. At its core, anger typically arises as a response to perceived threats, injustices, or frustrations. Understanding the purpose of anger involves examining its evolutionary roots, psychological functions, and even social implications. But first, we're going to take a minute to recognize what anger looks and feels like. So I would love for you to just type in the chat what anger kind of looks and feels like for you. What is it that you kind of feel in your body, or how do you know that you're angry? Looking in the chat, high heartbeat. Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. That's a big one, very common one. If you're starting to get angry, your heart is going to start racing. You have tight teeth. Yes. Yep. Clenched jaw, right? Clenched teeth, tight teeth. Absolutely. Yep. Great answers to that. So I'm going to put what we have up here. We have a nice little image of a guy who's pretty angry. You mentioned the clenched jaw. He certainly has that clenched jaw. These are just some common ones that I have up here. A red or flushed face. Usually sometimes people get very red in their face. Tense muscles. The rest of your body will kind of tighten up. That tight jaw, the tight face, that's kind of what you're talking about. Your teeth kind of being tight. Clenched fists. Sometimes you will see people with, a clenched fist, and the heart beating fast, as you mentioned. So great. I think a lot of us can identify that feeling of being angry. But what do we do with that? So where does it come from? I think is a question that a lot of people have. So first, it's a survival instinct. From an evolutionary perspective, anger is really believed to have originated as a survival mechanism. When faced with a threat or a danger, anger triggers that body's fight or flight response, which I know a lot of people have heard about. That really helps prepare individuals to either confront the threat or defend themselves. So, in this sense, anger can really be viewed as a natural and adaptive response that mobilizes one's energy and their resources to really cope with a perceived challenge. Anger often serves as a form of emotional communication, signaling to others that something is wrong or unacceptable. Expressing anger can convey boundaries or assertiveness and the need for change. Self preservation. On an individual level, anger can serve to protect one's self esteem, autonomy, and their well being. When faced with disrespect or mistreatment or violation of personal boundaries, anger can really motivate individuals to assert themselves and safeguard their dignity or personal rights. In this way, anger can empower individuals to stand up for themselves and advocate for their needs. This often leads to change. Anger can be a catalyst for personal growth and social change. When channeled constructively, anger can inspire individuals to address injustices, challenge societal norms, and even advocate for positive transformations. Historically, anger has fueled social movements and revolutions. So it's important to recognize that while anger can serve valuable functions, it can also become problematic when expressed in harmful or destructive ways. As many of us know and recognize, uncontrolled or excessive anger can lead to aggression or violence or damaging to relationships. So, what do we do with anger? How do we manage it in a healthy fashion? Here are some strategies for managing anger. And we're going to go through each one of these. So, awareness. The first step in managing anger is really to recognize when it arises, paying attention to those physical and emotional cues that signal your anger rising. This would be those cues that we just talked about earlier, such as that increased heart rate, tense muscles, flushed face, or even racing thoughts. You will want to acknowledge and accept that you're feeling angry. Without self judgment, recognize that anger is a natural and valid emotion. Pause and breathe. When you do feel anger escalating, take a moment to pause and breathe deeply. Deep breathing exercises can help to activate the body's relaxation responses, and that helps to calm the nervous system. So inhale deeply through your nose, hold for a few seconds, and exhale slowly through your mouth. We can certainly try that now. So take a minute and breathe in deeply through your nose, hold it for a second, and then exhale slowly through your mouth. And if you kind of repeat that pattern, This can help your nervous system from a physical perspective and gives you the time and opportunity to pause and think, which leads us to our next skill, the good old counting to 10. So I know that you have probably heard this many of times, but the reality is that this small intervention can provide you with a brief window of time to cool down, to regulate yourself, and to collect your thoughts so that you can respond in a way that you choose. Using that time to step away from a situation if possible, giving yourself space to regain perspective and clarity before responding. Sometimes, we say or do things that we regret later. So, this is really your opportunity to make a choice in how you want to respond. Acceptance, allowing yourself to accept that you are feeling anger is important. Recognizing that you do not have to react or respond in the same way as the past, and you do have control and power to make changes for yourself. Acceptance allows you the grace to say, yes, I am feeling anger, and that is okay. This can kind of help you move forward and address your anger how you desire. Mindfulness techniques, such as meditation and mindfulness exercises, can really help to cultivate awareness of thoughts, emotions, and bodily sensations. Mindfulness is all about the here and now and getting you to be more present in the moment. One very easy mindfulness technique or exercise to do is a stretch, a very simple stretch. So just kind of take your hands, your arms out, and either stretch them above your head or out in front of you or to the sides. But if you just kind of stretch your arms, get a good stretch, and you should be able to kind of feel the muscles and tension pulling in your back, your shoulders as you kind of stretch a little bit further. These types of exercises, even a simple stretch, can really increase your body awareness and help to bring you to the present moment, get you more in touch with what your body's actually feeling and what you're doing in that moment. Another type of mindfulness skill is called a grounding technique. One simple grounding technique is what I like to call like the five senses. And it's really a technique is noticing with your five senses. So seeing, hearing, smelling, tasting, and feeling. We can practice that exercise right now too. So just take a minute to adjust and get yourself comfortable wherever you're seated. Take a breath in and out. Now, take a minute and individually, you're going to think about each of these as I ask you to notice different sensations that you're able to identify with your senses. So, this is going to be just something that you're doing in your head. You don't have to put it in the chat. So, in your mind, label or kind of list five things that you see. So, take a look around. What are five things that you can visually see from your place that you're in right now? Now identify four things that you feel physically with your body. This can be in your chair. If you're sitting on a chair, the back of your leg touching the chair, or your back being supported by the chair. This could also be anything physical within your body. So maybe you have a headache or a pain somewhere else in your body, and you can feel that. Four things that you feel physically with your body. Moving on to your hearing. What are three things that you hear? Maybe you hear your computer battery running, or maybe you hear someone down a hall or outside making a noise, or a bird outside. Three things that you hear. And now taste. So, two things that you taste. This is always a tough one, but I like to have people think of maybe you have a snack or you have a drink, maybe you have a cup of coffee, depending on the time of day. So it's something that you taste. 2 things that you taste. And then finally, 1 thing that you smell. Is there a smell that you can smell, or is it pretty clear there maybe not really be a smell? In those cases, I like to tell people sniff your clothing. Oftentimes, laundry detergent has some sort of perfume smell to it. Maybe you wear perfume or cologne, chapstick sometimes. There's a smell or something associated maybe with makeup if you wear makeup, but something that you smell. So, this activity can help you to really connect with yourself in the present moment and be mindful of what is around you. Even if you don't remember the exact order of how to go through the senses or the exact number of items for each of those senses, the act of going through each of your senses and identifying at least something from each of those categories and senses can really help to ground you. So we'll move on to identifying activators or triggers. So reflecting on situations, people, or events that tend to activate your anger. Some of them, as we know, we just can't avoid them, while others we may need to figure out maybe a more proactive plan to help to manage that anger. But by identifying common triggers or activators, you can anticipate and prepare for potentially challenging situations. Challenging irrational thoughts. Anger is often fueled by irrational beliefs or some level of distorted thinking. Challenging negative thoughts or interpretations that contribute to anger and replacing them with more balanced or rational perspectives can really help us to navigate anger. So, practicing cognitive restructuring techniques to kind of reframe the situation in a more positive and constructive light is really a great place to start. So, an example of challenging irrational thinking, let's say that you have a friend who makes plans with you and then they cancel last minute to do something with one of their other friends. The problem lies in how you start to think about that friend's actions. So maybe your initial thoughts to that are, what she did was awful. I can't stand it when I get dumped like this. She absolutely should not have done that. I don't think I'll be able to survive being treated like this. She's a terrible person. So the problem with that line of thinking is that these thoughts are irrational because they overstate the truth. Um, Canceling plans doesn't make someone a terrible person. And I'm sure that you'll be able to survive without that set of plans. So instead of thinking those irrational thoughts, what if we worked to replace them with more rational ones? Like, what she did was bad, but not awful. I could and did survive from being stood up, so I actually could stand it. And I did survive from it. I prefer to not be treated that way, but sometimes these things will happen. Or tell yourself things like, while canceling plans may not be ideal, it's still her right to do so. There may be some legitimate reason for why she may have canceled her plans or changed her plans last minute. Even if, what she did was bad, it doesn't make her a terrible person. Practicing challenging these irrational thoughts can really help to reduce anger and allow you to view situations a little differently. This is a skill that you will kind of keep hearing about throughout this workshop. So, communicate assertively. This is another one that comes up frequently. Expressing anger assertively involves communicating feelings and needs directly without resorting to aggression or hostility. So, avoiding blame or criticizing others and focusing on expressing yourself honestly and directly. Using I statements to convey your emotions and preferences, fostering that open and honest dialogue. I feel blank when blank happens or occurs. Things like, I do not want blank. So, assertive communication can be very useful in creating healthy boundaries. Engaging in physical activity. So channeling anger into physical activity can help release pent up energy and tension. Engaging in activities such as like brisk walking, jogging, swimming, or practicing martial arts can really channel anger into a healthy and productive way. I always like to add something like singing or humming to this list. It really also helps to engage your muscles, your diaphragm, and it also is a great resource for people with maybe less mobility to have a healthy way to release some of those emotions as well. Practicing relaxation techniques, incorporating relaxation techniques into your daily routine can help to reduce stress and promote emotional well-being. Experimenting with techniques such as progressive muscle relaxation, guided imagery, or aromatherapy to help to calm the mind and body. And finally, seek support. Reach out to trusted friends, family members, or even mental health professionals for support when needed. Talking to someone that you can trust, where they will provide validation, maybe a new perspective, and some guidance in managing that anger effectively. Remember that managing anger is a skill that takes time and practice to develop. Be patient and compassionate with yourself as you explore different strategies and find what works best for you. Any questions about anger in general before we move on to our next emotion? I do see a comment here about the 4-4 breathing. Yes, there are tons of varieties of breathing exercises that you can utilize. And I just encourage people to try a number of them and see what works best for you. All right, we will move on to guilt. Guilt is an emotional experience, typically categorized by feelings of remorse or responsibility and self blame for perceived wrongdoings or moral transgressions. It arises when individuals believe that they have violated their own internal standards, societal norms, or ethical principles. Guilt often involves a sense of personal accountability and the belief that one's actions or omissions have caused harm or negative consequences to oneself or others. This emotion can vary in intensity and duration, ranging from mild regret to profound anguish. And it really may prompt individuals to seek forgiveness, make amends, or change their behavior to alleviate those guilty feelings. So, guilt can manifest in various forms. Let's talk a little bit about the types of guilt. Mistakes and failures. This could include errors at work, academic setbacks, or lapses in judgment that result in negative outcomes. Guilt often arises from causing harm or disappointment to others, whether intentionally or unintentionally. Breaking promises or commitments. This comes up frequently when others rely on or expect certain actions or behaviors from us. This might include things like missing a deadline, that example we had before, someone canceling plans, or not following through on obligations. Survivor guilt. This type of guilt will arise with individuals who may have had loved ones involved in accidents or natural disasters or incidents involving a particular type of large loss or tragedy. Guilt can also arise from violating social or cultural norms, values, or expectations. This can include deviating from traditional norms or roles or behaviors, going against societal standards of conduct, or even acting out in ways that conflict with one's cultural upbringing. Individuals may experience guilt when faced with ethical dilemmas or moral conflicts, grappling with difficult decisions that involve competing values or principles. This could include situations involving honesty, integrity, fairness, or justice. Parents often experience guilt related to their perceived shortcomings or failures in parenting. This could include feeling guilty for not spending enough time with their kids, disciplining too harshly, or not meeting their children's needs adequately. Success guilt. This is guilt for achieving success or prosperity while others struggle to face adversity. This type of guilt often stems from a sense of privilege or unfair advantage compared to others. Self imposed expectations. Guilt can also arise from setting unrealistic or unattainable expectations for oneself and feeling inadequate or disappointed when we do not meet our own expectations. So, what do we do with our guilty feelings? Getting through feelings of guilt can be a challenging process, but with patience, self compassion, and proactive strategies, it is possible to move forward and alleviate that burden of guilt. Oftentimes, guilt requires a multifaceted approach to healing, including some of these items that are here listed on this slide. Reflect and understand. So, taking time to reflect on the source of your guilt and understand the circumstances that led to it. Consider whether your actions were truly harmful or if they were based on an unrealistic expectation. Communicate, apologize, and make amends. If your guilt stems from actions that have hurt or wronged others, consider apologizing and making amends. This is showing that you are taking responsibility for your actions. You are expressing genuine remorse and often, trying to make things right to the best of your ability. Open and honest communication with others, along with sincere apologies and efforts to make amends when necessary, can really help repair relationships and alleviate feelings of guilt. I do know that this can be a very hard part of it, but it usually can help you feel a lot better about the situation, as well as allowing the other party to see your sincerity about the mistake. Learn and grow. Using your experience of guilt as an opportunity for growth and self improvement. So, reflecting on what you can learn from the situation and how you can prevent similar mistakes in the future. Self compassion and self forgiveness. Practicing self compassion involves treating oneself with kindness and understanding, acknowledging that mistakes are a natural part of being human, and offering oneself forgiveness and acceptance. Being able to offer yourself grace and ultimately forgiveness can be key to moving past guilt in situations where you may have done something wrong or hurtful or perceived as wrong or harmful in some way. Acknowledging that we are human and we do make mistakes is important. We certainly are not robots. I also like to remind people to treat yourself with the same kindness and understanding that you would offer to a friend in a similar situation. I have found many people to be very critical and hard on themselves, but when asked, would they treat their friend with the same type of mindset and behaviors, the answer is typically no. We often give our friends much more grace, compassion, and forgiveness. Cognitive restructuring and challenging negative thoughts. We talked about this one a little bit before, but challenging irrational thoughts and beliefs associated with guilt can help individuals reframe their perspectives and adopt a more balanced and realistic interpretation of the past events. So, for example, let's say you are feeling guilty about a pet having an illness. In your mind, you may be thinking, I'm a terrible person. How could I let Fluffy get sick? A nice restructuring to that is saying to yourself, I can't prevent all illness for Fluffy. However, I can make Fluffy as comfortable as possible, and I can provide them with the best care that I'm able to at this point in time. You are restructuring and replacing the self critical or irrational thoughts with more balanced and realistic perspectives. Remind yourself that holding on to guilt does not serve any constructive purpose and that you deserve to move forward. Focusing on self-care, taking care of yourself physically, emotionally, mentally, engaging in activities that bring you joy, relaxation, and fulfillment. Prioritizing self-care practices such as exercising, healthy eating, adequate sleep, and spending time with loved ones. One aspect of self care is including mindfulness practices such as meditation, the deep breathing, or progressive muscle relaxation to ground yourself in that present moment. Mindfulness can help you observe your feelings of guilt with a greater sense of clarity and also some detachment, allowing you to respond to them more skillfully. Um, Affirmations and mantras can also be powerful tools for cultivating self compassion and also reducing feelings of guilt. Here are some of the examples. I will go through just a few of them for the sake of time. The first one, I am worthy of love and forgiveness despite my mistakes. I am learning and growing from my experiences, allowing myself grace along the way. I trust in my ability to overcome challenges and navigate life with resilience and compassion. So, repeating these affirmations regularly, either silently or aloud, and allowing their positive message to sink in and resonate with you can be really helpful in overcoming guilt. Over time, they can really help to shift your mindset towards self compassion and empower you to let go of that guilt and embrace self acceptance. Back to what else we can do with our guilt. We can seek support, reach out to trusted friends, family members, again, mental health professionals for support and guidance. Talking to someone who you trust can, again, provide validation, perspective on a situation, and encourage you to work through those feelings of guilt. Therapy or counseling is also a great resource for this, providing they have a safe space for you to explore your feelings, develop coping strategies, and really to work through any underlying issues contributing to that guilt and your particular situation. Letting go and moving forward. Ultimately, getting over feelings of guilt does require letting go of the past in some way and embracing the present moment. Again, trusting in your ability to learn and grow from your experiences and allow yourself to move forward with a sense of forgiveness and empowerment. By addressing the feelings of guilt with compassion, self awareness, and support, individuals can cultivate greater emotional resilience, nurture healthier relationships, and foster that overall well being. We will move on to sadness. Sadness is a fundamental human emotion. This is universally experienced across cultures and societies. It's a natural response to loss, disappointment, adversity, unmet expectations that typically arise in response of a negative or distressing situation. If you think back to the feelings wheel from the beginning of where we started, we know it can involve feelings of sorrow, grief, despair. So while sadness is often perceived as a negative emotion, just like anger, it does also play an important role in the human experience and does serve several adaptive functions. So we have them listed here. Signaling loss or change. Sadness serves as a signal that something significant has occurred, such as the loss of a loved one, the end of a relationship, or a significant change in life. Facilitating emotional processing. Sadness provides us an opportunity for individuals to reflect on their experiences, also their values and different priorities. It encourages introspection and self exploration, allowing individuals to really make sense of their emotions, their thoughts, and their behaviors. Sadness can promote social connection. Sadness can foster empathy and compassion and social support from others. While individuals express their sadness and vulnerability, it can create opportunities for connection and understanding and even validation from friends or family members. It can also bring about the desire to seek more social connection for one's own self if they're feeling sad. Sadness can motivate behavior change. This can include motivating individuals to seek help, make positive changes, speak up for oneself, or advocate on another's behalf, or take action to address underlying issues or challenges. It can serve as a catalyst for personal growth, resilience, and adaptation when faced with adversity. Sadness often prompts individuals to slow down, to rest, to engage in self care activities. It provides an opportunity for restorative rest and reflection, allowing individuals to recharge emotionally and regain perspective on their lives. So, while sadness serves important functions in the human experience, it's essential to recognize that prolonged or intense feelings of sadness can also be indicative of an underlying mental health concern, such as depression or anxiety. In such cases, seeking support from a mental health professional is important to address these issues and promote well being. Overall, sadness is a natural and inevitable aspect of the human experience, and learning to navigate it is very important. So, what do we do with sadness? First off, we want to acknowledge our feelings. Allow yourself to recognize and accept your feeling of sadness, again, without judgment. Suppressing or denying emotions can prolong distress, while acknowledging and validating your feelings can facilitate the healing process. Express yourself, finding healthy outlets for expressing your emotions, such as journaling, art, music, talking to a trusted friend, or even a therapist. Expressing your feelings can provide a sense of relief and validation, helping you to process and also release some of your pent up emotions. There are a number of different expressive art therapies out there now, too. They encompass creative modalities that can be used to explore emotions. They do a lot with processing trauma and can also help promote healing. Practicing self compassion, being kind and gentle with yourself during times of sadness, treating yourself with the same compassion and understanding that you would offer to a friend in distress. Practice self care activities that nourish your mind, your body, your spirit. These can look like taking a bath, going for a walk, engaging in a hobby that you enjoy. Connecting with others, seeking support from friends, family members, or even support groups who can offer that empathy, validation. Talking to others who have experienced similar feelings can provide comfort and reassurance that you're not alone in your struggles. Engaging in relaxation techniques. I know we covered this one a bit earlier too. So, again, deep breathing, meditation, progressive muscle relaxation to help to calm your mind and body. These can really help to reduce stress and enhance that emotional well being. Focusing on the present moment, practicing mindfulness again by focusing on that present moment, grounding yourself in the here and now, noticing those sensations. And the mindfulness can really help you cultivate acceptance and peace through some of these more difficult emotions that we feel. Exercise, physical activity, again, exercise has been shown to particularly boost mood and reduce symptoms of sadness and depression. Engaging in activities that you enjoy. So, whether that's going for a walk, practicing yoga, or dancing to your favorite music, make sure that you're choosing things that you enjoy, not forcing yourself to go to the gym and pump some iron if that's not something that you enjoy. It can be something as simple as turning on some music and dancing around the house. So physical activity also releases endorphins, which are our natural mood lifters. So we want to make sure that we're doing that on a regular basis, particularly when we are feeling sadness. Practicing gratitude. Cultivate gratitude by focusing on the positive aspects of your life and acknowledging the things that you're grateful for. So, keeping a gratitude journal or simply taking a moment each day just to reflect on a blessing or something that you feel really appreciative of can really shift your perspective and help you to find moments of more joy and happiness through your possible larger feeling of sadness. Setting realistic goals for yourself, breaking tasks into smaller, manageable steps, and setting realistic goals. Accomplishing even small tasks can help to provide a sense of achievement and boost your mood, helping you to really regain a sense of control and purpose during some of these difficult times. Again, I will remind you to be patient and compassionate with yourself as you navigate your emotions. Trust that with time and self attention, you can find relief and healing. We are going to move on. Now that we have a good understanding of sadness, we are going to move on to talk a little bit more about loss and grieving. Loss and grieving are distinct experiences from general sadness. They are characterized by their deeper emotional impact, their complexity, and often their duration. So, loss refers to the experience of being deprived of something or someone that is significant or meaningful in one's life. This could include the death of a loved one, the end of a relationship, the loss of a job, or deteriorating health of someone. Loss can evoke a wide range of emotions beyond sadness, including shock, anger, guilt, and even numbness. Unlike general sadness, which can arise from temporary setbacks or disappointments, loss typically involves a profound sense of emptiness or longing and disruption to one's sense of identity and purpose. Grieving is the process of adapting to and coping with loss. It involves navigating a range of emotional, cognitive, physical, and spiritual responses to the loss experience. Grieving is a natural and necessary process that unfolds over time and varies widely from person to person and also culture to culture. It may involve stages such as denial, anger, bargaining, depression, acceptance. Grieving often leads individuals to questions about life, death, meaning, spirituality. It can provoke a search for understanding, purpose, or connection to something greater than oneself. It can lead individuals to reassess their values, priorities, and relationships, and ultimately cultivate greater resilience, compassion, and wisdom. So, while grieving is a highly individualized process that varies again from person to person, there are common stages and patterns that many people may experience. Not everyone will go through all of these stages, and the process is not always linear. That means individuals may move back and forth between stages or experience them in a very different order. So here are some of the general stages of the grieving process. For the sake of time, we will not talk about each of them in detail. Some of them are pretty self-explanatory. We have shock and denial, anger and bargaining, depression and sadness, reflection and acceptance, and reconstruction and moving forward. I do want to highlight that last one. Eventually, individuals may reach a stage where they will feel ready to rebuild their lives and move forward in some way. This stage involves usually finding a new routine, establishing new connections, and rediscovering a sense of purpose and meaning. While the loss will always be a part of their story, individuals may find joy and growth and fulfillment in that process of rebuilding and embracing life after a loss. Again, it's important to recognize that there's really no right or wrong way to grieve. Each person's journey is very unique, and it's essential to honor and respect each person's individual experience. So, what do we do with grief and loss? How do we navigate it? Here are some strategies to help navigate that process. First one, allow yourself to grieve. Give yourself permission to feel and express your emotions. Allow yourself to experience sadness, anger, guilt, and any other emotion that will arise. Again, we want to make sure that we're doing that without judgment. Recognize that grieving is a natural and necessary part of the healing process. Seek support, reach out to friends and family members. Again, we're looking for empathy, understanding, companionship. Talking to others who have experienced the same loss can provide validation, oftentimes comfort, and reassurance that you're not alone in your grieving process. Oftentimes, you will find comfort in speaking to others about that common loss. Express your feelings. Again, just like with sadness, finding healthy outlets for expressing those emotions, writing, journaling, art, music, physical activities. Finding meaning, looking for ways to find meaning and purpose in the midst of your loss. This could involve reflecting on things that you've learned, cherishing memories of a loved one, or finding ways to honor their legacy through maybe different acts of kindness or service. Practicing self care, another big one, nourishing your body, your mind, your spirit, seeing common themes with these emotional management techniques: plenty of rest, eating nutritious foods, exercising regularly, engaging in activities that bring you joy and relaxation. Participating in rituals or traditions that hold significance for you or your loved ones. This could involve attending a memorial service, celebrating special occasions in their honor, or creating your own rituals. Taking one day at a time, focusing on taking small, manageable steps forward each day rather than trying to rush the healing process. Give yourself permission to grieve at your own pace and trust that healing will come with time. Finding supportive communities, connecting with organizations, online forums, or local support groups that specialize in grief and loss. Being part of a supportive community of individuals who understand what you're going through can provide, again, that comfort, validation, and encouragement. I often refer people to their local hospice organization, as they usually have a ton of grief and loss resources, and a lot of support groups as well are often held regularly through your local hospice organization. Embrace change. Understand that adjusting to life changes after a significant loss does take time and may involve making adjustments to your own routine, maybe your own goals or your own expectations. Be open to the possibility of growth, transformation, and new beginnings as you navigate this journey of healing and adjustment. So we will shift gears and go to elevated happiness. We will end on a more happy note. The concept of elevated happiness refers to a state of well being that goes beyond mere satisfaction or contentment. It encompasses deeper levels of joy and fulfillment and meaning in life. While happiness is often equated with positive emotions and pleasurable experiences, elevated happiness implies a more profound and enduring sense of well being. Often transcends momentary pleasures or external circumstances. Elevated happiness is characterized by several key attributes. Authenticity. Individuals experiencing elevated happiness tend to have a strong sense of authenticity and alignment with their values, their passions, their purpose in life. They often feel a deep sense of congruence between who they are and how they live, which contributes to this sense of fulfillment and satisfaction. Elevated happiness is often associated with a strong sense of meaning and purpose in life. Individuals who experience this happiness level do feel like they are contributing to something greater than themselves. They may derive meaning from their relationships. They may feel meaningful from their work, their creative pursuits, their spiritual beliefs, or contributions to society. Connection and relationships. Individuals who experience elevated happiness tend to have strong social support networks. They have deep emotional connections and a sense of belonging and community. They value authentic relationships and prioritize nurturing connections that bring joy, fulfillment, and support. Personal growth and resilience. These individuals are often committed to ongoing learning, self improvement, and growth. They embrace challenges as opportunities for growth, cultivate resilience in the face of adversity, and approach life with a growth mindset. Individuals that have a sense of gratitude and appreciation for life's blessings often have more elevated levels of happiness. They cultivate a practice of gratitude, regularly reflecting on those positive aspects of their lives and expressing appreciation for the beauty that surrounds them. Elevated happiness is rooted in a deep sense of presence and mindfulness, allowing individuals to fully engage with and savor the richness of each moment. They approach life with curiosity and openness. Also, balance and well being across various domains of life. They cultivate habits and practices that promote holistic well being. Altruism and service. So, individuals who experience elevated happiness derive joy and fulfillment from helping others, making a positive impact on their communities, and contributing to the well being of others. So, overall, elevated happiness arises from a combination of factors that really encompass social, emotional, and physical dimensions of the well being. We can help ourselves obtain this deeper level of happiness that we're talking about. We can find ways to savor positive experiences. Here are some strategies to help you obtain the deeper level of happiness. Be present. Again, practicing mindfulness by bringing your attention to the present moment, noticing the sights, the sounds, the smells, the sensations associated with a positive experience. Think about those grounding techniques that we practiced earlier with your five senses. Let go of distraction and worry and really focus on fully experiencing the moment that you're in and as it begins to unfold. Engage your senses, notice the details of your surroundings. We mentioned the taste, the texture, the aroma of a certain food, the beauty of nature, or the warmth of a hug. Pay attention to sounds and music that accompany experiences, allowing them to really enhance your enjoyment. Slow down. Take your time to fully experience and appreciate a positive moment. Avoid rushing or multitasking. Instead, allow yourself to kind of linger and savor each aspect of that experience. Gratitude, cultivating that sense of gratitude for the positive experience. Take a moment to acknowledge and appreciate the people, the circumstances, or factors that contribute to that experience. Expressing gratitude can amplify positive emotions and enhance your overall sense of well being. Share the positive experience with others, whether it's through conversation or laughter or simply enjoying another's company. Sharing a positive experience can strengthen social connection and deepen that enjoyment of the moment. Capture the moment. Take photos, write it in a journal, create art to capture and commemorate that positive experience. Reflecting on these memories later can help prolong the feeling of joy and gratitude associated with that experience. Reflecting on the meaning, taking time to reflect on the significance and meaning of that positive experience. Consider how it aligns with your values, your goals, your aspirations, and how it contributes to your overall sense of fulfillment. And finally, revisit the experience. Allow yourself to revisit and relive the positive experience in your mind. Reflecting on past positive experiences can evoke feelings of nostalgia and gratitude, reminding you of joy and happiness that you've experienced. By incorporating these strategies into your daily life, you can cultivate a greater capacity to savor those positive experiences. This will lead to increased happiness, gratitude, and overall feelings of hopefulness. When thinking about how to use these captured moments of happiness, think about times when you may feel sad, angry, or guilty, and you could use a pick me up. You will want to use these captured experiences in times when you may need resilience or those feelings of hopefulness. As you can see here, I have the dictionary definition of resilience. I personally love reading this first definition: the capacity to withstand or to recover quickly from difficulties. Using these elevated times of happiness as a source of hope for a healthier or happy future can really help you through these more challenging emotional times. This does conclude our workshop for today. I would love to open the floor, see if there are any thoughts, questions, comments. I do also have my contact information on the screen if you would like to connect outside of here or have any other questions that you would like to ask outside of the group setting. Question here. How often is it normal to experience anger? Great question. I think that's going to vary person per person, and also depending on the situations that you're in. I would also encourage you to think, are there things that you can change in your environment or around you that will help to reduce that level of anger to make it less and less? The comment is I ban members who anger me. Absolutely, yes. So exactly, taking some situations we can control. If we have people around us or involved with us that are making us angry, and we know that, and we have that option to just kind of remove ourselves from them or remove them from us. Absolutely, absolutely, safeguard yourself. There's nothing wrong with that. And panic attacks. What feeling is that? That relates more to anxiety. So I would say that's separate than some of these ones that we talked about today. The panic attacks are more related to feeling anxious about something. I would say that also relates to maybe feeling scared, sometimes feeling vulnerable in some way. Um, but panic attacks are another big one that certainly comes up. Absolutely. A webinar on panic attacks. Yep. Yeah, absolutely. I can report that back to them as well. Be happy to share that with them, that feedback. And for panic attacks, I would also recommend you can look to more of the mindfulness based, the relaxation based topics. All of those usually you kind of start for in treating panic attacks. So that could be a good resource to start with at least. Art, absolutely. Yep. Art, diaries. Yeah, having a place to really kind of get out those emotions can be so helpful. As you heard from, the presentation stuff, it's a lot of the same thing, but it's really more about finding what's gonna fit best for you and work best for you in your situation. Some people love art, some people hate art, to really, really a personal opinion. Let's see, any apps? I don't have any that I typically recommend. It's usually, again, really just based on what you like. But what I do tell people is just search a bunch of them, download a few of them. Most of them, the ones that you would have to pay for, they typically have a free trial. Do the free trial, check them out, see what feels best for you. Because that's also very individualized too. Some people like apps that have all sorts of reminders and they're dinging their phone all the time. Other people, maybe people that may have panic attacks or are more prone to anxiety, that's going to stress them out more. You don't want something like that that's going to be beeping and blowing up your phone all the time. So that's really going to be a personal opinion, but I say try some, download a couple and try them. I think there's one called the Calm app. Um, there's tons of them out there for like guided meditation and imagery, things like that. Great. So we will wrap up here. Thank you for being here today and for taking time to engage and learn more about mastering your emotions. I know it was a lot of information in a kind of short amount of time, but I hope that some of it was useful and practical for your everyday life. Take care, and I will end the meeting now.